Okay, this is going to be the second section. It's going to be a fairly long section. It's going to go into the terminology of the costs involved, both from a verbal and a little bit of arithmetic way of looking at things. Let's do the verbal first. Fixed costs are those costs that do not vary with the quantity of output produced. So rent is a good example of a fixed cost. No matter how much you do, how much you produce, the rent is the same. Sunk costs are those costs that occur only once. So building a building, you're building that building only once, and then you have various fixed and variable costs involved there. Variable costs are those costs that do change as the firm alters the quantity of output produced. So labor is the classic variable cost. Short-run costs, cost structure with at least one fixed cost. Long run, a cost structure with no fixed cost. First we'll talk about the short run, and then we'll go into the long run. Family of total costs in the short run include total fixed, total variable, and total costs, which equal total cost is equal to its fixed and variable component. So a firm's costs include its rent and its labor and any other things that as it operates in a short run environment or horizon. And let's say you're working with you're making bicycles in a plant, and that plant is a fixed component within the rent and the materials and the labor that you need to make those bicycles. And next slide shows that as we're producing items, there is total fixed and variable costs. And as you can see for each quantity, and that's how we look at cost per quantity, the total cost is equal to the fixed and variable cost. Fixed cost remains the same. Variable costs will eventually shoot up beyond the fixed cost. Graphically, total cost curve starts from the fixed cost there of $3, and then we have the variable costs as you're producing more and more of the item. And this is glasses of lemonade per hour. Now there is a relation between production function and total cost, which is diminishing returns. As the production goes up, cost goes down. Production tapers off and costs still rise as these extra inputs still cost money. So the curves are mirror images of each other. Ignore that, go to homework 2. That's for the face-to-face class. So those curves are mirror images of each other. Now some more terminology. Average costs. Average costs can be determined by dividing the firm's cost by the quantity of output produced. And the average cost is the cost of each typical unit of product. And as with total cost, we have a family of average costs, which is our average fixed costs, average variable costs, average total costs, and ATC is equal to AFC plus AVC. Now there's a formula for each of these. Since it's the average, it's going to be the total divided by the quantity. And here we go. Formulas for average cost. Average total is the total cost divided by the quantity. Average variable is the total variable cost divided by the quantity. And average fixed is the total fixed cost divided by the quantity. Now we can do calculations for average costs, and here they are. As we're producing more goods, average fixed, average variable, and average total. And I'm sure Applia has some exercises for you to calculate these. Note here and the average total cost in the beginning goes down due to average fixed costs, and then it looks like from 6 units to 7 units it begins to go up because now average variable cost takes over. So the average total cost has kind of a U shape to it, and we'll see that shape in just a couple of slides. Marginal cost measures the amount total cost rises when the firm increases production by 1 unit. Helps us answer the following question: how much does it cost to produce an additional unit of output? Marginal product, which is the flip side of the equation, how much more output would an additional unit of labor produce? Our formula: change in total cost over change in quantity. And here is how the graphs look. First, this is average total cost. Notice the U shape. And it goes down due to average fixed cost, and then goes back up due to average variable costs. Now, marginal costs are going to be hitting average total at the bottom of the ATC curve and then moves up. Now, there is a relationship between the marginal cost and average total. Here's marginal, there's average total, and basically the relationship is average always follows marginal. So as the marginal goes up, average is going to follow it. As the marginal goes down, average will go down with it. Think of test scores and makeup scores as a very basic example of this. If you do a makeup score and the average was 70 and your makeup score was 90, you factor that makeup score into the average is going to go up, but not by as much as the marginal score. Similarly, if you had a average score of 70 and the makeup score was 50, that gets factored in. The average will go down, but not by as much as the 50. Okay, this finishes section